Practical Vedanta 2, Text 4. In the Upanishads, we see a tremendous departure made. It is declared that these heavens in which men live and the ancestors after death cannot be permanent, seeing that everything which has name and form must die. If there are heavens with forms, these heavens must vanish in course of time. They may last millions of years, but there must come a time when they will have to go. With this idea came another, that these souls must come back to earth, and that heavens are places where they enjoy the results of their good works, and after these effects are finished, they come back to this earth life again. One thing is clear from this, that mankind had a perception of the philosophy of causation even at the early time. Later on, we shall see how our philosophers bring that out in the language of philosophy and logic. But here it is almost in the language of children. One thing you may remark in reading these books, that it is all internal perception. If you ask me if this can be practical, my answer is it has been practical first and philosophical next. You can see that first these things have been perceived and realized and then written. This world spoke to the early thinkers. Birds spoke to them, animals spoke to them, and sun and moon spoke to them. And little by little they realized things and got into the heart of nature. Not by cognition, not by the force of logic, not by picking the brains of others and making a big book, as is the fashion in modern times. Not even as I do, by taking up one of their writings and making a long lecture, but by patient investigation and discovery, they found out the truth. Its essential method was practice, so it must be always. Religion is ever a practical science, and there never was nor will be any theological religion. It is practice first and knowledge afterwards. The idea that souls come back is already there. Those persons who do good work with the idea as of a result get it, but the result is not permanent. There we get the idea of causation very beautifully put forward, that the effect is only commensurate with the cause. As the cause is, so the effect will be. The cause being finite, the effect must be finite. If the cause is eternal, the effect can be eternal. But all these causes, doing good work, and all other things are only finite causes, and as such cannot produce infinite result. We now come to the other side of the question. As there cannot be an eternal heaven on the same grounds, there cannot be an eternal hell. Suppose I am a very wicked man, doing evil every minute of my life. Still, my whole life here compared with my eternal life is nothing. If there be an eternal punishment, it will mean that there is an infinite effect produced by a finite cause, which cannot be. If I do good all my life, I cannot have an infinite heaven. It would be making the same mistake. But there is a third course which applies to those who have known the truth, to those who have realized it. This is the only way to get beyond this wheel of Maya, to realize what truth is, and the Upanishads indicate what is meant by realizing the truth. It means recognizing neither good or bad, but knowing that all as coming from the self. Self is in everything. It means denying the universe, shutting your eyes to it, seeing the Lord in hell as well as in heaven, seeing the Lord in death as well as in life. This is the line of thought in the passage I have read to you. The earth is a symbol of the Lord, the sky is the Lord, the place we fill is the Lord, everything is Brahman. And this is to be seen, realized, not simply talked or thought about. We can see it as logical consequence that when the soul has realized that everything is full of the Lord of Brahman, it will not care whether it goes to heaven or hell or anywhere else, whether it is to be born again on this earth or in heaven. These things have ceased to have any meaning to that soul, because every place is the same, every place is the temple of the Lord, Every place has become holy, and the presence of the Lord is all that it sees in heaven or hell or anywhere else. Neither good or bad, neither life or death, only the one infinite Brahman exists. According to the Vedanta, when a man has arrived at that perception, he becomes free. And he is only man who is fit to live in this world. Others are not. The man who sees evil, how can he live in this world? His life is mass of misery. The man who sees dangers, his life is a misery. The man who sees death, his life is a misery. That man alone can live in this world. He alone can say, I enjoy this life and I'm happy in this life, who has seen the truth and the truth in everything. By the by, I may tell you that the idea of hell does not occur in the Vedas anywhere. It comes with the Puranas much later. The worst punishment, according to the Vedas, is coming back to earth, having another chance in this world. From the very first, we see the idea is taking the impersonal turn. The ideas of punishment and reward are very material, and they are only consonant with the idea of a human God who loves one and hates another just as we do. Punishment and reward are only admissible with the existence of such a God. They had such a God in the Samhita, and there we find the idea of fear entering. But as soon as we come to the Upanishads, the idea of fear vanishes and the impersonal idea takes its place. It is naturally the hardest thing for man to understand this impersonal idea, for he is always clinging on to the person. Even people who are thought to be great thinkers get disgusted at the idea of the impersonal God. But to me, it seems so absurd to think of God as an embodied man. Which is the higher idea, living God or a dead God? A God whom nobody sees, nobody knows, or a God known?